Second, Madam Secretary.
We go on to the approval of the order of business.
Madam Coordinator.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to propose several amendments to our order of business. The first one, I would like to propose for the inclusion of a proposed ordinance utilizing the amount of 734,500 sourced from unimplemented sports and events programs by the City Tourism Office for an augmentation to its budget for socio-cultural, arts, and sports activities under the 2022 MOE budget.
Any objections? None, so motion is approved. Any other amendments?
Honorable Presiding Officer, I would also like to move for the inclusion of an ordinance, an appropriation ordinance, utilizing the salary savings derived from unobligated compensation pertaining to the salary savings of the Office of Honorable Lipawan, amounting to 65,760 for grants and donations.
Any objections? None, so motion is approved. Stay no, Madam Secretary. Any further amendments?
Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to move for inclusion a proposed resolution commending the Borongan City Police led by Police Lieutenant Colonel Ruel Burlac and 78th Infantry Battalion led by Lieutenant Colonel Alan Ria for the successful voluntary surrender of 5 Borongan and former rebels last July 2022.
Second motion.
Objections? None, so motion is approved.
And lastly, Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to move for inclusion as requested by our senior Sangguniang Panlungsod member, Honorable Victor Franco, the proposed resolution endorsing the members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod Committee on Personnel members of the Human Resource Merit Promotion Selection Board of the City of Borongan.
Objections? None, so motion is approved. Any more amendments? None, so Madam Coordinator.
Honorable Presiding Officer, as we have not received any other urgent agenda as of the moment, I move for the approval of the order of business as amended.
Any objections? None, so motion is approved. Our order of business for today is hereby approved as amended. Next item, Madam Secretary.
Reading and consideration of the minutes of the regular session held on July 27, 2022.
Okay, so the minutes was emailed to you by our secretary. So I hope everyone received the email. So any corrections, comments? Alright, so Madam.
Honorable Presiding Officer, as there are no other comments or suggestions from our Honorable Sangguniang Panlungsod members, I move for the approval of the minutes of the regular session held last July 27, 2022.
Any objections? None. So the minutes from the regular session held last July 27, 2022 is hereby approved. Next item, Madam Secretary.
We go to the status report. Status report, number 1. Committee on Games, Amusement and Entertainment, an ordinance prescribing rules and guidelines for the establishment, operation and maintenance of cockpit arenas and derby centers, and regulating regular cockfighting and cock stud derbies in the city of Borongan.
The Committee Chair of Amusement and Entertainment, any updates?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As to the proposed ordinance on prescribing rules and guidelines for the establishment and operation and maintenance of cockpit arena, we have 3 draft ordinances, all of which we have submitted to the City Legal for legal advice. And then hopefully next week we can call a committee meeting and then discuss the committee hearing. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you very much for the report. Next item, please.
Committee on Health and Sanitation, an ordinance providing for a community-based mental health program delivery system in Borongan City and appropriating the necessary funds therefore.
Since the Committee Chair on Health is on official travel, I want the other members or the Vice Chair, any updates?
as the chairman of social welfare, we have scheduled a public hearing on August 12 at the Karayutan Center in Barangay Campus.
Public hearing on August 12th. Okay, so let's take note, everyone. Okay, good. Excited.
Committee on Social Welfare, an ordinance providing monthly cash aid to eligible persons with disability who are bona fide residents of Borongan City, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes.
So the committee chair on social welfare.
Honorable Presiding Officer, regarding this proposed ordinance, I have talked with the mayor and he requested that we invite him on our committee meeting because he has a lot of suggestions, and due to our financial status this year, bangin kita magbawas din kasi it was promised by the mayor na all PWDs matatagan pa, but due to our financial status this year, bangin kita mag-start na ito natin mga indigent PWDs. Pero waray pa po natin final ordinance hininga natin cash aid to PWDs. So, dinala po ito natin po yung team pag-clearance kami. Thank you.
Thank you. Excited.
Committee on Education, amendment of City Ordinance number 241, an ordinance granting allowance for Borongan Senior High School and college students. To it, additional provision granting the same allowance to Borongan students, learners enrolled under the alternative learning system ALS.
So the committee chair on education.
Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer. In order that, our committee may have a fast and efficient response on this request, the committee conducted a meeting on July 26 with the resource speakers needed during that meeting. And the representative of Honorable Mayor, including the finance managers in attendance, mentioned or manifested that they have to confer this matter to our Honorable Mayor. And as of this time, I am waiting for their final opinion. And whenever they give us that particular report, the committee is ready to conduct the final meeting on this matter, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excited.
Committee on Trade, Commerce and Consumer Protection, Labor and Employment, proposed ordinance, an ordinance strengthening participatory governance in the City of Borongan through empowerment of civil society organizations, establishing a People's Council prescribing its powers and functions, and providing for their participation in the local bodies and similar work groups.
So the committee chair on trade and commerce.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. As to the record ordinance, we will be scheduling our first committee meeting on August 10 to deliberate and discuss about ordinance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the update. So the second.
Committee on Youth and Sports, proposed Borongan Tomorrow's Youth Ordinance, Youth and Sports Development, Bukoy Law.
Since the committee chair on youth and sports is absent, how about the other members?
Our committee chairman has not yet scheduled the committee meeting regarding this matter.
So decided.
Committee on Utility and Communication, proposed underground cabling ordinance.
Committee chair on utility and communications also travel, official travel. So how about the other members? Any updates on this? Alright. So decided.
Committee on Agriculture, proposed amendment of the Block of Cultura, Ordinance number 180, there is a
The committee chair on agriculture and updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As to the proposed amendment of the Agricultura, the committee hopefully meet on this coming days. Thank you, Mr.
The committee chair on agriculture. Next item, please. Madam,
Committee report.
Proposed ordinance.
there's no committee report, so let's go to proposed ordinances.
Proposed ordinances, number 1, to pass and approve an amendment through an appropriation ordinance for change of project title and project cost details as follows. From number 1, improvement of Surf City with 2.5 million pesos. Number 2, public parking area and garage for Surf Ray Tractor by Bay Boulevard, an amount of 2 million pesos. 2, public parking area and garage for Surf Ray Tractor at Barangay Borongan City, an total amount of 4.5 million pesos.
So, Madam Farley,
Honorable Presiding Officer, as informed by the body, this is merely an amendment to the initial or the first submitted agenda to correct the amount from 2.5 million to 4.5 million. And the attachments to the said request has been duly received by the Sangguniang Panlungsod member last July 22, 2022. I therefore move that we include the matter for second reading.
any objections? None, so motion is approved. Included in our order of business for second reading. The second, please.
Proposed appropriation ordinance, amending the project title from the Tor Bridge Lighting at Barangay Alang-Alang with project cost of 800,000 pesos to installation of additional 7-unit solar LED lights at Center Island by Boulevard with the same project cost of 800,000 pesos.
Madam Farley,
Honorable Presiding Officer, as to the attached documents of the said request, we have not been given a certification of the availability of the fund, and during our pre-session, we have discussed that there are questions to the matter, and therefore move that we refer the matter to the Committee on Infrastructure, chaired by Honorable Arago, for further discussion of the matter.
any objections? None, so refer to the Committee on Infrastructure. The second, Madam Farley.
Proposed appropriation ordinance, amending the project title from completion of laboratory and X-ray building at Motorpool, Magpisaw, with project cost of 3 million pesos to construction of X-ray and laboratory building, phase 2 at Motorpool, Magpisaw, with cost of 3 million pesos.
Madam Farley.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we include the proposed ordinance under our new business for second reading.
Any second?
Second.
Any objections? None, so motion is approved. Second, Madam Secretary.
Proposed appropriation ordinance, utilizing the unobligated balance for construction of reinforcement concrete deck girder bridge phase 1, amounting to 1 million pesos as additional fund for the repainting of Center Islands by Boulevard, Borongan City.
Madam Farley.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we include the appropriation ordinance under our new business for second reading.
Second motion.
Any objections? None, so motion is approved. Madam Secretary.
Proposed appropriation ordinance, utilizing the amount of 3,286,839 pesos derived from the budget savings for personnel services consisting of unfilled items in the Executive Department to be apportioned as follows: donations for AX and various purposes, 1,296,839 pesos, wages for job owner workers charged executive services, 1,500,000 pesos, traveling expenses, 200,000 pesos, capital outlay, electrification to the evacuation center, Barangay Campisaw, 300,000 pesos.
Madam Farley.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we include the matter under our proposed ordinances for second reading.
Second.
Any objections? Motion's approved. Second. Reason. Kanina. Yung mga addition. Yung mga addition.
Proposed appropriation ordinance to pass and approve an ordinance utilizing the amount of 734,500 pesos sourced from funded but unimplemented sports and defense programs and activities to support the request by the City Tourism Office for an augmentation to its budget for other socio-cultural, arts and sports activities, all under the 2022 OOE budget of said office to it.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we include the matter under our proposed ordinances for second reading.
Second.
Second.
Objection? None.
Second
Motion's approved.
version.
Next item. Madam Secretary.
To pass an ordinance utilizing the salary savings derived from unobligated compensation and related personal services costs, retaining the salary savings from the office of Honorable Lyra Limpawan to tama of 65,760 pesos.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we include the matter under our ordinances for second reading.
Second the motion.
Any objections? Further discussion? None. So motion's approved. Next item. Madam Secretary.
Proposed resolutions. Number 1, proposed amendment of resolution number 63, series of 2022, by including the names of 205 teachers of ESO in the approved resolution granting allowances to judges, prosecutors, etc.
Madam Secretary.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we refer the matter to the Committee on Education chaired by Honorable Victor Franco, as he has requested that this matter be jointly discussed with his amendment of the ordinance granting allowances to students, taking into consideration the deficit or lesser income of the city to tackle the matter.
Any second? Any objections? None. So refer to the Committee on Education. Next item. Madam.
Proposed resolution to pass and approve a resolution commending the Borongan City Police led by Police Lieutenant Colonel Ruel Borlan and the 78th Infantry Battalion of the Philippine Army led by Lieutenant Colonel Alan P. Chaya for the successful voluntary surrender of 5 Borongan former rebels on July 20, 2020.
Madam Secretary.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this is a very good job well done for our Borongan PNP and our military authorities. And this is in keeping with the peaceful peace of our community. I therefore move that we pass and approve this resolution commending our Borongan City Police and the Philippine Army, the 78th Infantry Battalion specifically.
Any second? Any objections? Any further discussion? Before we approve? On behalf of the Sangguniang Panlungsod, I would like also to commend after the mga AFP at atong PNP for the successful ito na nga mga surrenderies, at least kahit pa paano kinikita rin ato mga kabugtuan dito bukid nga mas maupay kinabuhi din sawa. So hopefully magsunod-sunod na ini aton mga baga nagbabalik loob nga ni aton gobyerno. Honorable Victor Franco.
Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer. May I manifest my strong support to this requested proposed resolution as the chairman of Committee on Education, where we try to propose or craft on on social transformative programs and legislations on the platform on education. We firmly believe that this particular ordinance and this particular activity set by our Honorable Mayor, recognizing personnel or any Borongan or anybody working in Borongan who give us excellent performance to their job or to their work should be recognized. And for Borongan, who have been still on its progress in making social transformations, I think this particular activity where we recognize our well-performing personnel is highly recommended. And I believe, Honorable Presiding Officer, if it doesn't have any legal problem that may arise, siguro in the future, we will like the office of the Vice Mayor perhaps, or the Sangguniang as a whole, we also have this kind of event where we recognizes people who perform their tasks, provide success story in their own field, be recognized at the Sangguniang. That's all. And thank you.
That's a good point. I don't know a little bit how they're going to practical. If this is the same as may nakita na kasi sinisir ng pasindungog, this is where the LG is giving acknowledgement mga ating mga empleyado, mga nagtatrabaho doon. So, nagkakauro sa ating executive, ating sanggunian. So, sa nagkakatang naman yung mga pahalipay naman lang. So, any other manifestations right now? So, we have a pending motion for the approval of the said resolution. Duly seconded. Any objections? Further discussions? None. So, the proposed resolution is hereby approved. Next item, Madam Secretary.
Proposed resolution endorsing the members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod Committee on Personnel, Administration, and Appointments as members of the Human Resource, Merit Promotion and Selection Board, HRLPSB, of the City Government of Borongan, District Zone.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this resolution is important as the city government will be reconvening and reconstituting the members of the Human Resource Merit Promotion and Selection Board. I therefore move that we pass and approve this resolution endorsing the members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod Committee on Personnel to the HRMPSB of the City Government of Borongan.
Any objections? None. So the proposed ordinance should be approved. Next item.
Review of number 1, 2022 Barangay Annual Budget of Barangay Sabang-Sam.
Madam Secretary. Madam Lordship.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we refer the matter to the Committee on Finance chaired by yours truly for further discussion on the matter.
Second. Any objections? None. So refer to the appropriate committee. Next item.
Number 2, Barangay Ordinance number 1, Series of 2022 of Barangay Canlaray entitled An Ordinance Requiring All Basketball Players of Multipurpose Building Must Be Aware of All Barangay Regulations to Obey, Follow before the players they play for this hall.
Madam.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we refer the matter to the Joint Committee, the Committee on Laws and Rules chaired by Honorable Victor Franco, and the Committee on Youth and Sports chaired by Honorable Lani Anacta, the Committee on Laws and Rules taking the lead.
Second. Any objections? None. So refer to the Committee on Laws and Rules and Committee on Youth and Sports. Next item, Madam Secretary.
Second reading. For second reading, pass and approve an amendment through an appropriation ordinance for change of project title and project cost areas as follows. Improvement of Search City, 2.5 million pesos. Public parking area and garage for Surf Rate Tractor by Boulevard, 2 million pesos. 2 public parking area and garage per surf rate tractor at Barangay Borongan City in the amount of 4.5 million pesos.
Madam President.
Honorable Presiding Officer, again, this request is merely a amendment of the title and the project title and the project cost, which is parang a combination of both, but for the same purpose. I therefore move that we pass and approve this appropriation ordinance, amending the project title from the improvement of the Surf City amounting to 2.5 billion and the public parking area and garage for surf rate tractor by the Boulevard amounting to 2 billion. Now to public parking area and garage surf rate tractor at Barangay Borongan City amounting to 4.5 billion.
Second. Any objections? Further discussion? None. So the proposed ordinance amending to an appropriation ordinance for the change of project title and project cost is hereby approved on second reading. Madam President.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I also move for the inclusion of the said ordinance under our ordinances for third reading.
Any second? Any objections? None. Motion is approved. Decided, Madam Secretary.
For second reading, proposed appropriation ordinance amending the project title from completion of laboratory and X-ray building at Borongan, Kapisao with project cost at 3 million pesos to construction of X-ray and laboratory building phase 2 at Motorpool, Kapisao with cost of 3 million pesos.
Honorable Presiding Officer, as this is again only a change of the project title from completion of laboratory and X-ray building to construction of X-ray and laboratory building, and all attachments are in order. I therefore move that we pass and approve this ordinance, changing the title of the said construction project.
Second. Any objections? Further discussions? None. So the amendments to the proposed ordinance is hereby approved on second reading.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I also move for the inclusion of the said proposed ordinance under our ordinances for third reading.
Second. Any objection? None. Motion is approved. Second. Madam Secretary.
For second reading, proposed appropriation ordinance utilizing the unavailability balance for construction of reinforcement concrete deck girder bridge phase 1 amounting to 1 million pesos as additional fund for the repainting of Center Islands by Boulevard, Borongan City.
Madam President.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this appropriation ordinance is for the utilization of an accumulated balance from the road network to capital outlay of the City Mayor for repainting of the Boulevard structure. And attached to this request is a certificate of funds availability from our City Treasurer, Ibarin Plana, and our OIC City Accountant, Hans Roel Masana. Since there are no issue on the matter, I move for the approval of the said ordinance for second reading.
Second. Any objections? Further discussion? None. So the appropriation ordinance utilizing the unobligated balance for the construction of reinforcement concrete deck girder bridge phase 1 amounting to 1 million as additional fund for the repainting of the Center Island and Bye Boulevard is hereby approved on second reading. Next item.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to move for the inclusion of the said appropriation ordinance under our ordinances for third reading.
Second. Objections? None. Motion is approved. Madam Secretary.
For second reading, proposed appropriation ordinance utilizing the amount of 3,296,839 pesos derived from the budget savings for personal services consisting of unfilled items in the Executive Department to be apportioned as follows. Donations for AX and various purposes, 1,296,839 pesos. Wages for job order workers charged to executive services, 1.5 million pesos. Traveling expenses, 200,000 pesos. Capital outlay, electrification to the evacuation center, Barangay Kapisao, 300,000 pesos.
Madam President.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this appropriation ordinance is for the reversion of the budget from our executive, from our City Mayor, Mayor Ryan Agda, and has duly attached documents, especially the certificate of funds available for appropriation, which was issued by our City Treasurer, Emily Plana, and OIC City Accountant, Hanso Balmasana. I therefore move that we pass and approve this appropriation ordinance on second reading.
Second. Any objections or discussions? None. So the appropriation ordinance utilizing the amount of 3,206,859 pesos derived from the budget savings for personal services from the until position of the executive department, hereby approved on second reading. Madam Clerk.
Next slide. Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the inclusion of the said appropriation ordinance under our ordinances for third reading.
Any objections? None. Motion's approved. Next item.
For second reading, to pass and approve an ordinance utilizing the amount of 734,500 pesos sourced from funding and implemented sports and events programs and activities to support the request with the City Tourism Office for an augmentation of its budget for other socio-cultural, arts, and sports activities, all under the 2022 MOOE budget of State Office.
Madam Clerk.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this request from our City Tourism Office is brought about by the coming or the visit of the executives of the City of Borongan. And this budget is originally for the biggest Balili Catch sectoral activity of the DALG and the basketball with the beach, city and province. And now it will be realigned for the R8 Drag Racing League Leg 2, which will be held in the bypass road in Barangay Maypangdan, Borongan City, amounting to 734,000 pesos. And since this is a big event that will benefit our city, I move that we pass and approve this appropriation ordinance on second reading.
Second. Any objections? None. So the proposed appropriation ordinance hereby approved on second reading.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the inclusion of the said ordinance under our ordinances for third reading.
Any second? Any objections? None. Motion's approved. Next item, Madam.
For second reading, to pass an ordinance utilizing the salary savings derived from unobligated compensation and related personnel services costs pertaining to the salary savings of the Office of Honorable Lyra Limbawan in the amount of 65,760 pesos.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this request from the Office of Honorable Lyra Limbawan is for the certification from our City Budget Officer, Ma'am Alice Deborah, of the availability of the fund. I therefore move that we pass and approve this ordinance for second reading.
Second. Any objection or discussion? Alright. The proposed appropriation ordinance hereby approved on second reading. Madam Clerk.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the inclusion of the said appropriation ordinance under ordinances for third reading.
Second. Any objections? None. Motion's approved. Next item, Madam.
For third reading, to pass and approve an amendment through an appropriation ordinance for change of project title and project cost details as follows. From improvement of Start City, 2.5 million pesos. Number 2, public parking area and garage for surf rate tractor by Boulevard, 2 million pesos. 2, public parking area and garage for surf rate tractor at Barangay Borongan City with total amount of 4.5 million pesos.
Continue.
For third reading, the proposed appropriation ordinance amending the project title from completion of laboratory X-ray building at Motor Pool, Campisao with project cost at 3 million pesos to construction X-ray laboratory building phase 2 at Motor Pool, Campisao with the cost of 3 million pesos. Proposed appropriation ordinance utilizing the unobligated balance for construction of reinforcement concrete deck girder bridge phase 1 amounting to 1 million pesos as additional fund for the repainting of Center Islands by Boulevard, Borongan City. proposed appropriation ordinance on third reading utilizing the amount of 3,296,839 pesos derived from the budget savings for personal services consisting of unfilled items in the Executive Department to be apportioned as follows. Donations for AICs and various purposes, 1,296,839 pesos. Wages for job order workers charged executive services, 1.5 million pesos. Traveling expenses, 200,000 pesos. Capital outlay electrification to the evacuation center, Barangay Campisao, 300,000 pesos. On my reading, the proposed ordinance of the City Tourism Office in the amount of 734,500 pesos. Next is on third reading, to pass an ordinance utilizing the salary savings derived from unobligated compensation and related personal services costs pertaining to salary savings from the Office of Honorable Legal Yupawan in the amount of 65,760 pesos.
Second, once again. Okay, speak, so on second.
Announcement.
Other matters.
Other matters.
Other matters. So,
Honorable Presiding Officer, may I manifest that Honorable Glenn Ispito called me up this morning and he informed me that until today his salary for June has not been available, and actually he told me that they've been following it up to the offices concerned, and he called me up to ask help or support on this request by Honorable Dennis Cotto. And to me, there might be both legislative or technical relevance why this is happening. I suggest that we call the finance representative concerned either during our session or after our session, so as we'll be able to be informed and we'll be able to support the request of Honorable Dennis Cotto. And again, it might have relevance on us why this particular issue is coming up on the table. So that's all, Honorable Presiding Officer.
yes, thank you, Honorable Franco. Actually, it's not just the salary of the former Honorable Escoto. It's Honorable Magakay also is Director Franco. I think it's better if we invite ato na the HR kasi in charge ato mga salaries. Siguro after lalak ato mag-present nila. Kasi the office of the Vice Mayor na Sangguniang has invited ato taga-BAC and ato taga-CGSO para mag-present din niya at ato process at ato procurement. Sabi na kaya alit ato mga bago, for sure hindi pwede ka nagkabisado din para mas maging barong-hirap, pati naman kita, kaya sige may update sa ato yung mga procurement, no? So, mas mapagya updated naman kita. So, ato taga-BAC, represented by Mr. Regito Akla, and ato yung department head, Sir sir. Sorry. Sige, Madam Coordinator.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the suspension of our internal rules of procedure so that we can ask or allow our representatives from different offices to speak before the session.
Second. Any objections? None? So motion is approved. Our internal rules are written for suspended. So, hinag mo na. Taga-BAC or CGSO. Sir, 8 lang. So, sige. test, session show. So we have here Mr. Ariel Tuna from the CDSO. Sir, kindly enlighten us about the mga procurement.
In general.
Before we proceed, I'd like to ask if, because if we will discuss the entire procurement process, actually, it was only this time that I learned that we'll be inviting our hardworking hardworking personnel from the CDSO, and discussing the details on procurement might entail a lot of time. For the proponent of this matter, that we will invite our good personnel from outside o siguro to shorten our probable discussion on this matter, I'd like to know if there are certain issues and problems that has been cropping up for the technical person from the GCDSO to respond, and if there are also certain, of course, updates of the process that might be able to be presented by our head of the CDSO. So I think we should also start discussing by identifying if there are problems. And having said those, I'd like to thank the presence of our CDSO head and other technical person for coming by. So thank you.
So any comments or questions? Before we let our resource persons?
Maybe he will be able to answer my question.
Okay.
Hello. Mabay nga aga atin na tanan. Ito an invitation kasi it is I think it's a discussion about the procurement and the process of supply and property management. I will not be touching ito procurement because ito expertise is lodged in our resource person, Sir Eugene naman Engineer Lara. Now, very short lang, kay this is just a paghatagin idea, labi ng ating mga bago, and I expect also ng ating mga lumang councilors already know the procedure ng ating procurement. Pero there are certain changes because of passage of rules and laws. Okay? Let me inform you, itong basis sa akong opisina as City General Services Officer, it mandato yung akong function is lodged dahil itong Section 490 itong Local Government Code. And that is very specific. Nga ito sa na akong function is to take custody and be accountable of all real properties. Sumeringanin of all properties, sumeringanin kita nga all properties, upod ini itong real property, tuna, na itong mga personal property ato may pinanmanage over itong computer. Okay. Part of that, part of my accountability are those items that have been granted to the city government through donation. Di ba may nagdo-donate ka atin yan, and then through reparation, and those assistance na hinahatag sa atin. And those also items that have been engaged itong city government yung may natong contribution dito ng mga properties. Kaya na makakagastos kita. May natong counterpart. Okay. All those I mentioned, yung mga real na mga properties, both real and personal, all are governed by the rules. May dapat mga reporting na ginihin ng COA. So, kasi tayo hindi bubuhat. So, there are rules na ginihin na isusunod natin. You might be confused kung kay ano itong ating procedure pa iba-iba. When I talk to COA, may natin niya na dapat din implement nga GAM, Government Accounting Manual for LGUs. Pero, ginhold niya, wala ipapa-implement niya na. Kaya, ang reason is there is no IRR. Okay? Itatang ini-implement niya na LGU Ingas dated June 20, 2002. So, there are rules nga gina-adapt natin hangtanan una pa. Ay lang ang ka-confuse kung may yung question pa kailan niyo Rowena. Okay? So, ito natin yung implementation in terms of supply and property management mix. Okay? But if you will follow itong LGU Ingas hanggang 2002, di ba ito niya ni ginagamit niya ng OBR, we will go back to ALOBS. Pero di rin taging implement. That is the LGU Ingas. Okay? Mag-implement na nga kita, may na nga instruction within COA for the implementation of the GAM local, expect some changes. Okay? I furnished you a copy of ang procedures in the requisition and issuance of inventory items. The first document. The second document is the procedures in the requisition and issuance of equipment. Okay. Assign niya ito na atong proseso, una-una itong inventory items, ito natin mga incumbent honorable members, I think are familiar of the procedure, except ito na item number 3, nalikit ito inventory items, itong item number 3. Itong item number 3, it states that the concerned office requesting personnel, okay, receives the original of SAI from the accounting staff. If stock is not available, prepares purchase request, PR, for the item requested and forwards the same to supply and property unit for processing of the request. If available from stock, prepare and fill up requisition and issue slip RIS if in 3 copies signed requested by forward RIS to authorized official for approval. For the new members of the council, please be familiarized na itong terms. Okay? RIS, requisition and issue slip. So kung magre-request ka mo, una-una na dokumento is RIS. Dati, SAI, Supplies Availability Inquiry. Okay? SAI, may I correct it? Ito natin po na dokumento is SAI, Supplies Availability Inquiry. I mentioned earlier na may natin ng amendment and rules. Kung nakikita niyo din nakabutan, SAI should be signed by the City Accounting Office. Should be signed. Diri ating dapat opisina. But with the order of COA, itong SAI have na approve. Okay, pero itong appropriate office is Accounting Office. If you can check ito natin rules. So, ano takong susundon? Rules or kanang COA? As of this time, I follow COA. In the meantime, wala pa natin na IRR. So, the first document is SAI, Supplies Availability Inquiry. Itong SAI, you are just inquiring kung may naman stock ng items in the opisina, and then kung may naman stock ng item, we will accomplish the RIS, the requisition and issue slip. Correspondingly, we will not issue the item. Okay? Now, kunwaray item, amon din ng stock. Kunwaray namon item na dinit amon warehouse, we will now have the purchase request. Itong isang opisina, itong end user, magpe-prepare na niya purchase request. If you notice, iba nila itong rules itong purchase request din. The purchase request should be accomplished by the concerned department, and then it shall be given to the City General Services Office for the processing. Pero atong practice, right after niyo paka-PR, di ba, diretso kami na ito budget, accounting, and then to the back. So that's the practice. Para lang makita niyo. This is the rules, this is the practice. Okay? Now, may problema, wala ko man nakikita ang problema. So that's it. Now, kung mag-PR na, yung ito na, new PR na yung ito back, and then there now starts the procurement process. Masunod na yung back. Magpo-procure na. hibak magkakumayada, iton primary mode of procurement is competitive bidding, and then alternative mode, mamananganira, and then maghimo na nga per permanent bidding, mag-PPO. After the PO, the BAC is mandated by the rules to issue the PO maliha ang opisina. Kay Cabinet may jurisdiction to require the supplier to comply at to delivery of materials or equipment in accordance with the contract stipulated specifications din at the purchase order. Okay, dapat itong purchase order is specific. Okay, diri dapat generic kaya, specific na hiya. As much as possible, may daan na niya mga measurement, may da brand name, yan may ada na kunta niya model. Kay itamon opisina pag-abot at delivery, dapat kunta ministerial na lang. Kung ano dinayakan hitong PO, kukupihan na naman, dapat supplier, i-deliver niya ang item. So after delivery of the supplies, pagka-deliver ay am mandated by the rules na ipa-inspection ng COA within 24 hours. Within 24 hours. So pagka-deliver amon, masubit na yung report, tawag transmittal report na COA with the attachment of delivery receipt, PO, and other documents. So ito na mga items, pag-transmit ng HAERA, again, direct rules, may date niya tinatawag na quarantine period for 3 days. It item ada dito sa opisina for 3 days. After the lapse of 3 days, asan yung tamang pag-distribute itong opisina. Or, within the 3-day period, maihatag na nga niya, mag-inspection niya nitong COA, halimbawa for the first day. Right after the inspection, yung COA, i-distribute na itong item. All items na supplies, na silidhamon, we are recording it itamong stock card. As mandated by COA. So, nakadaman ito in-inspection among si stock card. Okay, may lang yung pakianit supplies. Can I proceed to the equipment? Para halikot na.
Oo. Next, Honorable Lavega.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to clarify that from Sir earlier. If you can give us a timeline, we usually put paano kung gano'ng kaiha in your steps 1 to 14, nilaha iyo, including the step also nilaha from receive and inspect. Can I try to guide them?
Actually, dapat very fast ini. It should be very fast because of the Citizens Charter. May dahil natin ng Citizens Charter. It should be very fast. Nagiging malaman na ini, honestly, if there is an incomplete attachment itong papers. Second, if there is an incomplete delivery of items. Third, if the delivery does not comply the required specifications as provided in the purchase order or contract. Madali la ini kay pag-abot tidak punta, diha na siguro 2 hours, may na no. Pero don't be confused itong rules ng itong practice, ha? You know what I mean, no?
So what is the practice, Sir Ivy? What is the practice po? Compared to the rules, what is the difference between the rules and the practice?
There's a big difference. I think you know it.
Can we specify? Okay, I think we have different experiences. Kasi we keep on, I think part of the objectives of us calling you here in the session one is for us to be clarified. Kasi our expectations is based on rules, but then again, we know that in practice, tanay may naiiba. So, which part should we manage our expectations para punta diri kami na frustrate when we have PRs or if we request items and diri hiya up to par with our expectations and other anti-rented law or other constitution.
Okay, like for example, let us go back to the rules. Pag-abot itong practice like the SAI, kaya na kalit SAI, nabula din natin SAI. SAI, ito supplies availability and inquiry should not supposed to be signed by my office. Actually, it is a burden on my part to be signing that. So it will affect the performance of the duties and functions of my personnel. Especially na diri na dapat nila trabaho. Okay? What else? I think there are also instances in the exercise of the duties, urgent duties and functions of the especially the honorable members of the council. In a case-to-case basis, may daan natin mga requests for deliveries na titato niya yung mga constituents. We accommodate that in as much as it should always conform to the rules as mandated by COA. You know what I mean? It should always conform.
Sige.
Just a follow-up, sir, kasi ako, I've been hearing and I do understand na availability of our inventories or something. What are we doing in the office para kung nalilesan time at pag-i-inspect, nalilesan time at pagkakulaw kung available funds? Do we have like an application or kumbaga computerized naman atang inventory so that if may nagpapakian ng isa, dahil buta maarang kung may data na kulang or marami, maybe can hasten the process. May tabasugot ka request.
Thank you, Honorable. That is correct. Tama ka yung observation. Kay yan na, nag-iba kasi natin system na 28 and below, we were all computerized. If you can, namin system opisina, I think some of you can attest that. All purchase orders are prepared in our office, all PRs are prepared in our office. Ang trabaho na lang kung like other department is to sign. Because para kung palit PR, dapat everything should be correct already. Hindi rin na kita naabot na kita liwat-liwat. Danay, delivery na lang. Nag-liwat pa kita. Kay iton pagliliniwat kasi, di na-orhe. Napa-found out iyas, napa-found out ko, diri asya. Because the first document PR, diri na agihamon. Pero itong rules, dapat it should pass.
So what happened, sir? Why parang 2018 onwards, so wala nakatapot an assistant continue without?
I do not know. Because that is now the system na being implemented.
So who's that?
As per directive.
Who can be,
Kaya
who's accountable?
waray naman kasi hindi ako ng PO, we do not anymore prepare the PO, we do not prepare the RIS, all those things, natin ang back. So I cannot answer for that.
Okay. And one last question, Honorable Presiding Officer. Kasi how do we, kasi siguro lalo na ako, this was my experience during my first term na we've had a paper kung taano nga transmit head office, tapos nawara. So, how do we parang deal with accountability, lalo na when it comes to this papers nga has been parang dindadagbit nga ni punta, tapos biglang wari accountability hantaw nga punta na nag-receive. Kasi lalo na yan dapat atandaman bago nga SP members, bago nila dapat they will have the same experience as I did. Kasi yan ang nangingilala na makutat ang mga staff head nila si GSO, so mas madali. But how will we avoid this kind of situation again?
Pwede pag-specify, specific. Hindi ko kasi magawa.
And reimbursement para basketball uniforms for, I think that was an event in I'm not sure kung 2019 or 2020, nga nawaraan nila PR, so I had to pay for it personally. Kay, kumbaga pa din attachments, waraan and everything. So,
kung nawaraan PR?
At nga tanang yung documents na nakadahan yun. Parang, ang pag-trace nga na nila, and then wala na kami sa butwon ngayon. And I did not bother to anymore, kumbaga, investigate further kay every time makapakianan, di maaram, and I was just thrown back another question, hino ba, kuwan ba, hindi, parang no one was parang being accountable as to those documents. Up to now, yun ang nga ni, I just prefer, kumbaga, nagtitirok na lang katakan personal nga ng expenses for those that I give kay I am frustrated nga itakan budget which is allotted dapat for donations or for giving to the constituents diri hiya kumbaga naaalong taga ni maupay kay dahil pa hiya process and then nawawara punta nga mga documents. So I think on the part siguro had department kasi dapat may accountability. By accountability meaning, if a person does not know the process, there should be an information officer na magtututo, who should be the person na kapatuan niya. And then, pagdating the person, may nasiguro naman nila, kung di man receiving copy, at least ninakata, this is from you, or routing slip, or whatever, para punta na hita-track na.
Okay. Thank you. Honorable Chair. My apology if it caused you inconvenience. But, anak opisina ni what? I think 2 weeks ago na wag aking papel. Start kami nga tanan. The supplier, I think, as per advice of IAS, din pa affidavit of loss. So, experience ko yan. But, let me assure you, kung may talaga negligence or lapses on the part ng mga staff, tatawag ko talaga ito. Kaya kasi akong binubuha. Kung may sumbong-sumbong, binubuha ko diretso logbook to trace the document kung nakain. Kasi kung sumbong-sumbong lang, dahil hindi rin nagkakaaral siya, dahil hindi ang pinukulangan. Like for example, may na itutudyan kami but one case, and then ngayon nakatunan ng opisina, may proof of receipt of the document. So if that is the case, kung may talaga nawawala din yung amon, my apology in behalf of my office, and rest assured, ikukorek naman kung ano. Basta permanent dito, I always call the attention to the responsible person. And I am always trying my best na magmadagdag talaga yung proseso in every transaction itong sa opisina, especially kung natigang itong opisina itong mga honorable members of the council. Kay considering the nature of your work, kaya may laman niyo public services directly to the constituency. Kasi kami takip consideration, I give priority labi na ng mga ordinary or organic department talaga. Pakita ko, diretso akit. Diretso ako pagawas diretso, itatata.
Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer. I would like to thank Sir Aine for acknowledging the problem and making sure that there are measures that can be done after finding out the problem. Pero I would also like to suggest for a preventive measure para dili na kung madatang haiyo or na kung makukuha nga reklamo, if the office can devise a way nga mapaprevent that sugad nga nawawala ka paper, especially tigang pangalan mismo hayo office, para naman mas smooth at the operations. And the Sangguniang Panlungsod will be supportive of any measure na ihimuon to prevent unnecessary losses of documents. Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Honorable Presiding Officer, my recent observation with any transaction that involves CDSO, my office has not encountered problems, issues. As a matter of fact, I observed that they take the balance of being considerate and technically compliant with what is provided by law. And it is likewise proper if any problem from any member of the Sangguniang that may arise relative to concern on procedural order covering on procurement and the like will also be given opportunity to be raised up and be resolved somehow. Since it has already been mentioned, I'm just curious, why is there 3D quarantine on the item? For COVID-19 siguro na para lang madagdagan ni Baro, may COVID na ba ang mga item na kinanglan ng quarantine? I'm just kidding. Siguro ka lang curious na kung may not information na that's part.
Kaya na answer?
Yes, po.
Okay. Honorable Chair, the 3-day quarantine period is mandated by the rules of NOAA. I think it's was circular 1992. It has not been amended yet. Kung i-quarantine kasi niya, the term they use is quarantine for 3 days for the purpose of their inspection. May langanin mag-illegal din hata na city, dapat yung mga equipment or items ada, inspection na niya within the 3-day period. Di nga niya mag-inspection after the 3 days, mawi-wait na, we can now release the item. But if they inspect the items on the first day, right after, release na naman po. Ito natin po, procedures.
Kinirecommend na COVID infection.
Pero, nakikita naman na we have been considerating that. Di man nga nihira nagpupuan, masyado na inspection, we release that, actually we release na. Can I proceed to the equipment?
Sige,
Very short, very short.
sige lang, continue. Okay na?
The next document I furnish is the procedures and the requisition and issuance of equipment. So for the benefit of the new members of the council, just read the procedure, and then the same as the supplies, mag-RIS ka mo, requisition and issue slip, if there are items in the office or in the warehouse under the CGSO, we will issue. Kung may naman, pero normally wala. So na-indicate kami yung sa ay na none, no stock. So kung waray niya stock, it is incumbent upon the end user or department na mag-give kami purchase request. So the procedure now follows itong supplies, parehas diha. And then we also make, ipagkakaibala nira, ini nga kuan, ini nga equipment, there is a na-issue na kami property accountability report pa. Dati, ang mga rules, it's PIS, property issue slip, kakadakot department head, Honorable Iman, and then Honorable Iman, ikakato niya, kana Honorable Franco, ikagamitan ng head niya na I think is, dati is IMR. Diba, imanin lang ang IMR, under the old rules, hindi na par. Ika maakon par na la. Property Acknowledgement Report. Itong par, it is an implementation itong GAM local, ang pinabaguhan na. Kasi kung pag sumantay yung kanina, ito natin application to the rules mix. May kanan LGU Ingas, June 20, 2020 yung naging rules. Tapos may natin GAM local, September 6, 2021. Supposed to be GAM local kita, nasa imang kuha ay lalin kung nakawarpaya ka. So we are waiting for that. And then, may I also point out na may naman yung, may nabago yun ng issuance ng COA, the equipment now has been classified into two. We issue PIS for equipment with the amount of 50,000 pesos na ibaw. Ito man i-issue is property issue slip. Now, kung mayalap naman nga dito kung below 50,000, ito man i-issue is it's more on semi-expendable. Kanang kuha niya, property transfer report, it's more on semi-expendable with the amount of 50,000 below. So, sin pagkakaiba niya. Nadugang kami trabahoon, kaya every year, nagre-report kami sa COA ang ining mga items. Okay? And then, please take note also that every time we issue an equipment, mag-i-issue kami yung BIS, property issue slip. Ito property issue slip, please don't forget, may rin accountability. Okay? The department head is primarily and secondarily liable. Okay? Itong, ako naman, basic local government code, I am also accountable of all properties, both real and personal. Okay? Dito PD 1445, nakabutang dito, all properties yung ipopurchase itong city government or any local government for that matter is under the responsibility, primary and secondary responsibility itong local chief executive. The word is responsibility. Nagada naman itong department head, itong department head naman is primarily and secondarily accountable. Okay? So, take note the words responsibility, itong local chief executive, itong department head naman accountable. So, pagkakaibahin nila, so maringan yung responsibility, it's more on the duties, the authority of the local chief executive. And so meron naman yan kitang accountable, it's more on pagiging answerable dito sa empleyado, of which the properties are in possession related sa mga head. So, pinanglan, we are duty bound as head dito natin ng opisina na to take good care as a good father of family dito ng mga properties na yan lahat. Pero rest assured, pagkabutit ako opisina, ito may problema. Dito ko be clear. Ayos yung kalapakit. And then, what else? Now, what will be the accountability to iyong empleyado if ever may niyo, halimbawa, equipment, naghagad kami computer, okay? The employee na will be accountable to the immediate supervisor. Halimbawa, kan Honorable Glyza, may niya, empleyado nga intagan ng computer, so, itong empleyado is accountable to her, immediately accountable. Pero ito primarily at secondarily accountability to Honorable Vice Chair. Okay, we do a yearly inventory. Mandate lamang COA is to do a semi-annual inventory, pero hindi rin ang nakakaya because of lack of personnel and for the reason also of the pandemic. So once a year na lang kami nakakapag-conduct ng inventory. And we have also now, if you can hear, may natin mga employees who attended the training, I think, Boracay with COA, with respect to the one-time cleansing, and we are preparing for that. Na all properties of city government, including ang mga una pa, kailangan matuhay so that maghimo kita report and then i-COA can issue ng document na clear na kita. Okay, what term is one-time cleansing. So there are concerned offices with respective responsibilities magdadala trabaho. On our part, we are starting now. We are starting. So during the inspection, the inspectorate team, we request that kung ano itong araw nila for inspection, I just present itong mga properties or documentation na kailangan. And as of this time, okay naman, kung isang Sangguniang Panlungsod members, okay naman ang report, clear naman yung tanan. And then, may I just also inform you na itong ating inspectorate team, with respect to the inspection of supplies of equipment, they are composed of 6 members before mag-sign. There are 3 members coming from the back, and then 3 members coming from the GSO. The 3 members from the back, I think, Ate Big Cardona, Ate Gina, Ate Bigwa. Ang mga naman GSO, at Inspector Bonifacio Badillo, Alan Casiliano, and Mr. Gabriel Cabo. Okay, that's the setup. And that's all my short report. If you have clarification and questions concerning our office.
Sige, so any questions, further clarifications? Comments, suggestions from other members? Honorable Halimbawa?
Thank you, Honorable Sir. Sir, kung pwede na lang po kami makaaraw yung copy ng EU Citizens Charter para kami mismo makaramdaman kung ano ba talaga itong timeline dito ng office. Kasi pag binasawat siya ni kay Danay, dinakmahan talaga kung ano ba talaga yung mga
Step by step siguro.
with timeline punta. Kung siya ka-adlaw and hindi mga personal itong in charge dito sa rin nila process.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Limon. That is correct. Sanglit kasi, kareko kasi, pag-represent, na-direct yung mga kuwan ay para improve. Inya kuwan, tawagin hini, I cannot finalize because of the changes of personnel in my office, honestly. May mga civil, mga gawas, and then, buti na empleyado. Buti na kami, because I think the pandemic, ginassign lang na hirap. I think, ang nawara ko na 80%. Ang mga officers ko, mostly ito na akong performing personnel, mga utility workers. Pero I do not undermine their position. As much as possible, they train ko. Kay, nalilipin na ganyan na, kami may pinanrecall. Tagsakaan lang po yung naman. Pero okay ganda. So, I will try because in Section 419 Local Government Code, enumerated talaga ang functions. So, nag-aalam naman, pag hindi na naman Citizens Charter, tapos di ko mag-function, tapos nawawala. Bisa nga na akong presentation of the DBCR, na department, medyo nakuri an act, and even itong team, ang nag-DBCR kami pagka-regrade, medyo makuri kay because of the very irregular situation ng office. Pero I will try ko. Kaya ito na akong tao yan may dapat siya, may multitasking na dahil may upat, may functions. So nagkukuruan ko, pinukuruan kami. And then, I appeal also to the honorable members. Kaya in-mention man kanina ni Honorable Kainday, the measures. Kung manonotice ninyo, we have been asking for equipment like computers because honestly, we don't have fund. Sana yan ang magkuhanyanin kami. mag-request ito ma-aprobaran. Kay most of my computers, mga tag 5 years na po, more like 9 years, kinukuha na mag-perform. And I am very thankful that some members of the council have been generous to my office in the requests. So, and then secondly, in relation to the one-time cleansing, ibubutan ko na liwat naman request for warehouse kasi kung makikita niyo, I do not accept na yan na itong mga properties na ibang na iuli haabot ay wala ko binubutangan. So, importante iya, pinangalan ko ng warehouse yung sukat kadagdag basketbulan. Para ng mga items, equipments tama, kung makikita, may dito kabalag na, hindi tagigigit, mga computer, pinanunguha ko na buklain. Now, if you return it to me, tapos pirmahan ko yung property return slip, di ako accountable. Kaya wala ko pinanunod niya, hindi naman yung nagkawara. So I appeal to help me fund para ito na akong warehouse. Isang galatiin, and then,
Andito ka karayupan? Sino kayo naglahat?
waray, di rin mga warehouse na dapat. Like for example, kailangan namin pull out ang mga heavy equipment and previous administration, yun na nagkalilimit. Ang multi-gap.
So, my question.
It will help us, pero kung hindi kami po provide we are just doing our best, whatever available resources sa mga opisina, ibubuhat na considering the situation also. Thank you.
Thank you.